Residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats in the tank area.
What is up, everybody? It's a Manic Monday, which means you know who's in the house tonight. It is Tracks of the Damned with my motherfucking co-pilot, Human the Hoofed Beast. Displaying some new jewelry. Always good for the blasphemy. We love it. But man, I'm sure it's been a ridiculous fucking day, as Mondays can always be. So it is time to kick back because we got 5 more amazing fucking bands that have dropped albums in 2023 that we are going to talk about. And if I can get my thing to work correctly, there we go. All right. So before we get into this madness, and boy, I'll tell you, it's going to be awesome. Guaranteed video won't stop tonight. We'll get to that in a minute. So before we get into all this good stuff, let's take a quick commercial break to our brothers at Villain Arts Tattoo Conventions. Check that shit out. As always, Villain Arts Tattoos, the biggest tattoo conventions in the U.S. and the world. So more than just tattoos, it is a lifestyle. It is performance art. It is beautifully dark. Check it out if it comes your way. Kyler, what's up, brother? Paul, welcome. So what I want you all to do, as I see everybody kind of filing in, share this shit out. But most importantly, join us in saluting Facebook for having the audacity to delete my video, our video from last week. Ain't gonna happen again, I guarantee it. So we have got some great picks this week. And I think, let me see here. We're gonna start. Well, I'll put it up here one more time, just to show you. Oh yeah, I think I definitely want to start with Ahab. So that is where we are gonna start. All right, and since Hoofbeast, you were the one who brought me to the darkness in the best way possible, I will go ahead and let you kick this off. Kyler says all the middle fingers. Yes.
And this is Ahab is a band that Kyler likes a lot too, I found out.
Yes.
So you guys know with me, if it makes my top 30 favorite metal albums of all time, I'm getting it in vinyl and I'm framing it. And so looky what I have.
Oh shit balls! They already got vinyl. Look at that.
Ahab, the Coral Tombs. This album out something like January 17th or 23rd, somewhere
Yeah,
around there.
it was around like the first of the year,
Yeah.
somewhere.
And
As far as
this,
the first couple months.
this album is a departure from what you're going to find in every one. I think they have 6 full-length albums. They are all outstanding. But this one is the most dynamic to me. This album is absolute artistry. Now, yeah, that's great. Yeah, put that one up. So this album is absolute artistry through and through. God damn
Well,
it.
shit. Let's talk about the cover real quick. Look at the Amaze Balls symbolism that we see here. So not only is their logo awesome, so easy to read, which is always a good thing. But you know, certain bands, it's kind of a trend. But there's so much here. Anything from like the crazy spider and the coral reef here. They got some black stingrays, and it's like this army of I don't know what you would call them. Like the old school ocean suits
Yeah,
coming out of this like crazy ocean god. I mean, I just think that's sick as fuck.
yeah.
So yeah, I just had to start with that.
Yeah, the artwork is outstanding. So I have this on CD and vinyl. That's how good it is, people. So what are you going to get when you hear this Ahab album? So if you listen to any previous ones, you're getting brutality, you're getting funeral doom. So it's kind of death doom, death metal vocals, but they slow things down quite a bit. And so you might ask, well, how is this different from other forms of doom metal? Because it is a form of doom metal. So it's very different than
the extreme.
One of the other bands that we're gonna talk about tonight, which is also excellent, but it's a different feel, a different tone. When I listen to this album, The Coral Tombs, I listen to this one differently than I do the others because it's more like Mozart or Beethoven or Tchaikovsky writing different movements that are kind of long. So everything it goes pretty slowly. But another thing that's really different from most doom metal is some doom metal, especially stoner doom metal, is so repetitive that I have to have partaken upon a mind-altering substance, which makes it because I can kind of drone out to it and I love like
you almost have to at that point.
Acid, and with Acid King, I love it, but Acid King is super repetitive. But man, it's fucking heavy. It's really good. Ahab is going to take you through all kinds of different flavors, slow flavors, and for this album, you get some clean fucking vocals on this one, and that's not cool to some people. Some people just want no clean singing. But it's really good on this. It adds.
I was going to say, I found that to be kind of a neat texture, from some of their earlier stuff, because that's, where I started as a new listener was with some of the older stuff. And it's like, sometimes there's just certain parts that it can help elevate or it can destroy. So in this case, it elevated it.
Oh yeah. It just seems more rich to me. Like it's like eating 6 desserts, and the desserts are quite different. Each one all tasty. It's kind of so longer songs, slower songs, but to me they hold my interest because these guys are so creative in what they do. So
yeah,
you're not.
Oh, go ahead.
You're not going to get the really dirty, dominant bass guitar, which I love in a lot of doom metal. You're not going to get that.
Most of us do.
In here. This is a mostly kind of clean, not distorted bass. You can hear the bass. The guitars are not like super down-tuned, heavily distorted. They're almost clean. They're kind of like heavy metal tone on the guitar. Vocals are slow when they do the death metal. It's slow, low growls. Actually, my death metal vocals, not me trying to be like them, but that's what mine kind of sound like. And then the clean singing. These guys are from Germany as well, and boy, do I want them to come tour here so bad.
Oh, I think it's definitely catching on. I mean, anything from, their YouTube channel to Spotify, any of the ways that you can get, music quick and fast delivered nowadays, you can tell that people are digging the fuck out of this shit. Shoot, I'll have to look at what the actual numbers are, but my favorite track on this is Colossus of the Liquid Graves, and it just sounds like a funeral march of death. It's like you're about to go into the abyss. Like that's what's happening here. All these, all of mankind is getting swallowed up. It's so evident. I love the slow grooves. The drums are so precise, with a lot of the tasty fills, which is something I always look for, especially on a heavier type of doom, because I don't do the usual, 1 foot magic, when I do doom. So it was really nice to hear that. And the snare drum doesn't sound thuddy. It's like hammering. And that's what I love. Like the way the drums are captured. There's no trigger on the bass drum. It's a very clean sound. You can definitely, get the warmth of the bass drums, and just technically proficient. When that dude let out the opening, like guttural growl, I was just like, yes. I wish all screamers could do this, because man, as soon as like a big howl comes out of one of these vocalists, you're about to get annihilated. So just very cohesive all the way through the record. Production value, so clean, so flawless. I would love to steal their fucking engineer. Because whoever captured this shit did it so good that, I mean, I know for a fact that, I do some digging and find some live stuff. These guys reproduce it live. So it's not studio magic. It's the artistry. And this particular engineer definitely captured this album perfectly.
I've been meaning to ask you about when doom metal has a drum beat that is so slow and there's so much space in between each drop of the snare. That's got to be fucking hard to maintain that time and have it be consistent.
I mean, it can be. The thing that, even with this drummer, that I find that you can kind of put some light stuff in between there, different cymbal hits that don't involve the kick, maybe some light tonal stuff with the left hand on the toms before that crushing snare comes down. It almost like sets you up for it, almost like let's say a doom roll. Kind of just, little rhythmic hits in between there. But at that point, you must be the clock.
Yes. Like that.
And I've never, ever in my entire career ever have had to play to a click track. So these guys, I don't know. I feel like they're not doing that. I haven't read anything or seen anything that says that they do, but it feels very organic. So without having that click track, you can always tell, like even Cannibal Corpse's record a couple albums back, where dude was talking about, I got my blast beats up to, whatever per minute BPM. And I'm sitting here going, you guys in your entire career have never used a click track. And I kind of felt like that was a bit shitty on their part. Sorry, just me. Because if you already got it, just fucking push yourself like Gene motherfucking Hoglan. We'll get to that later. So, just constantly practicing at multiple tempos. These guys nail it so good. It's very eerie sounding. And I love that. So
it really makes you feel like you're lost and being pursued in the bottom of a really dark and eerie ocean. They really are going for that, and I think they achieved it really well.
Oh, I believe so. And there's so much lore about different gods, goddesses involving the sea, especially, in multiple European folklore. So it's like I could see it almost like Leviathan just coming up out of the fucking pit. That's the feel that I get on this record. There's no positivity. There's no silver lining. There is no coming back from this shit. So this is the album for you guys. If you like, I would even say like a horror movie that, everyone is going to die and there's just no escape. This is definitely the one. Like every shark movie that's come out, 47 Meters Down, all that shit. This album just brings that to life in the most beautifully dark way.
I don't think I mentioned also that there's a lot of really nice clean tones where they're holding a guitar and they're jumping around the strings, and it's real beautiful, melodic. Like it adds to the eeriness as well. So you get clean tones at times, but they're still dark and eerie. You get heavy, slow, pummeling distortion. It's outstanding. This might be my album of the year. I don't know, but it is so.
It's really up there.
Really damn good.
It's really up there for me too. And it's like we've said many times on this show, doom doesn't automatically equal fuzz.
Mm-hmm.
There are multiple genres within doom that fuzz is utilized a lot, especially if they're trying to catch the late 60s, early 70s fuzz. If that's their thing, great. But when it comes to this kind of a little bit more, I almost kind of say it's a bit chaotic doom, as far as like funeral doom or even death doom for that matter. But it doesn't need that fuzz. It doesn't have to have orange amplifiers. And that's one of the things that are very pleasing to me about Ahab, is that it almost reminds me of like that classic thrash controlled sound. There's not, tons of feedback or any shit like that. So, oh, Lorcan, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Not everyone that watches always comments. Let's put it that way. Babylon Sun, welcome. As always, out there in Black Flame Land, if you know anything about these bands, I know it's quite a learning show for a lot of us. So, feel free to comment. But, to answer your question there, Lorcan, not everybody is always talking. They just like to watch or listen. Everyone's very different.
Ahab is a band that Babylon will like. I know if he hasn't, I think he's already checked him out. But I'm surprised if he hasn't already checked him out.
He says he's on his way to checking them out. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised because, especially with you, Babylon, honestly, gotcha. Yep, that's the one right there. For sure. All right, let's move on to the next.
I love all 5 of them that we chose this week. They're all really good albums. And they're
Very good albums. Yes.
just like last week. These are all very different. Every band is quite different. So you're getting exposed to all kinds of metal. Because that's what I listen to. I don't listen to just black metal or just death.
Nope. We
over.
cover literally fucking everything. I mean, if Priest put out a new record, we'd be covering that. You name it. You know what I mean? So it's when you do best releases kind of thing in a year, we go through everything. Some of it is just automatically like, who gives a fuck, right? But there are just some that we like to focus on that maybe you don't know came out, and they're the ones that really stand out at the same time. So absolutely. I got to pick a little bit. So I chose Blood Ceremony. And I'm really excited about this because I don't like to call it a fucking trend. Some people might say that, especially industry people. But there are some very dynamic female vocalists within Doom. Mm-hmm. And Blood Ceremony has a killer fucking vocalist. The album is called, let me pull it up here for you real quick if I can. Is this the right one? Yep. Yeah. So, I mean, right there, very typical of the Doom genre. Little bit more like what you would see in occult books, like the artistry. So definitely you have what looks like a crone or a witch, looking into this big book within, the sacred circle, whatever. And it's called The Old Ways Remain. And from start to finish, this record is so occult laden. If you like that kind of Doom where there are just so many different references to so many practices, which is, I mean, Doom's kind of famous for that. Thank you, Black Sabbath. Early Sabbath, I might add. So you're getting a lot with this record. You're getting the fuzz. If you like that classic Tony Iommi-esque feel, that is what you're getting from the guitar, as far as sound is concerned. The vocals are just very darkly angelic, is what I would call it. She's got a very nice tone. It's very clear, but there's some effects on there that I noticed kind of throughout, this album. And they're kind of known for that. It almost sounds like she recorded it in a huge room. I mean, let's go back to Led Zeppelin. God damn. Bands like that were always famous for trying different things, different rooms, trying to pick up nuances from bigger spaces, controlled spaces, smaller spaces, whatever. And it's just very airy, but just very good, very slow, awesome fucking lyrics. I like what they're doing. What was your reaction to them?
I like immediately, like right away, first song, this is quality, really good riffage, catchy riffage. It's more of a mid-tempo, not super slow Doom. But the other thing that I caught is it's not heavily distorted, and it is more kind of most of the time it's rock.
Very much so.
Has a rock and roll feel, kind of like Danzig without Danzig's Elvis vocals. But but
that's so true.
As soon as I want to call the song rock, then it really has something that's definitely metal, like 80s heavy metal. So to me, they remind me a lot of 80s kind of heavy metal, with kind of rock in a ways, but it's really well done. I would agree with everything you said. Great vocals, great riffage throughout. The songs are interesting. They push forward and keep moving as they should. And yeah, I like this album a lot. I only listened to it one time. It was 2 nights ago as I was going to sleep. I listened to it.
It's definitely a kind of sit back and chill to it kind of vibe.
Yeah, I could see.
Stoke a big fire out in the backyard, kind of. That's the kind of doom. It's just very witchy. I get a lot of witchy vibes.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the occult, because that's definitely there. Like, I echo your comment. It definitely is there.
Which is badass. I have to address this because this is actually something we were going to talk about on the goddamn program. But I do agree with this. Lorcan says everyone should ban "Thy art is murder," those cowardice bastards. When we think of bands, we live in very interesting times. Any comment you make can be taken to the extreme, and 1,000 people, keyboard warriors, are going to jump on you like a pack of wolves. But when your own band, your brothers, sisters, whatever, don't stand with you and get rid of you because they're worried about career, it's unforgivable. Unless the comment was so fucking horrible. I can understand that. That's a PR fucking nightmare. But they got rid of him. How do you feel about that? Were you privy to this?
I was not. I've seen "Thy Art Is Murder" 2 times.
It's on Metal Injection. They're pushing it like the big, thing, and that's okay. I know it could be a sore spot for a lot of people, just because. I mean, people. You have to remember something. People are allowed to have their opinions. Period. Everyone's got one, just like an asshole, right? I kind of feel like maybe they jumped the proverbial gun a little bit just because they didn't want to screw their career. I mean, what they could have done is started a new band, changed the name. I don't know. I don't think they should have got rid of him just because of that.
So, but what happened? What's the gist of what happened?
Made a comment about certain things that is a hot button issue, which is why we don't ever talk about politics or anything like that on any Black Flame show, because, it's just not cool. It's about, humans being humans. I can see, first of all, I mean, Lorcan, I will not say it. He's goading me out there. When you're in that kind of a position, especially in this industry, any industry for that matter, film, you name it, television, keep your fucking opinions to yourself. Why do you have to go on Twitter and say something? If you feel a certain way about something, talk about it's like coffee talk. Talk amongst yourselves. Why do you have to put it on social media? Now he's fucking fired. You see how shitty that is? If everybody could learn to do that. I think that's one of the worst things about social media. It's given a voice to everybody. And it's like if somebody does go there and it is a part of the popular opinion, then nobody says shit. But when somebody has a different opinion that doesn't go with the status quo, suddenly they're horrible. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about it, obviously, for various reasons. I would say, Hoofbeast, go check out the article So I feel that. Okay. And he even says that they hired a new singer already, re-recorded his vocals that they had already laid down. So it's like a whole new album. That's fucking fast.
Wow.
Holy crap. This just happened
Wow, that's how he
a
found
week
out.
ago. It's almost as fast as when Sabbath pulled in Ronnie James Dio when Ozzy went AWOL. Holy crap. Like I said, everyone is entitled to their opinion. I respect all opinions. We all do. It's just, when you're in a band like that, and a very popular band, I might add, don't take a forum. Don't get on your fucking soapbox. Somebody's going to chop your dick off. It's just how it goes. But I digress. So there's that. I would say for me, the old ways remain. The Hellfire Club is bad fucking ass. Lolly Willows, Power of Darkness. Really enjoyed the Hecate song, which is why I say it is very occult laden record. It really is.
Good
and
one.
I agree with you, Lorcan. Most def. Oh shit. Oh, I know. I'm not famous at all, and strangers come at me for not sharing the popular opinion. And I don't listen to that band, but it sounds a plan to replace him was already in place. Yes, that is exactly how I feel about this. And if we all know our Sabbathy history, Tony Iommi was already ready to replace Ozzy with fucking Ronnie James. Nothing against Dio. Badass motherfucker, a metal god. But let's face it, Tony was already trying to get him before it even came up.
Well, it's not. They didn't have several years and a couple of years to kind of prep him to be ready to get rid of him. And probably
Yes.
countless stories of drunkenness and abuse that.
Well, shit. That's sometimes what happens when you're young and dumb. He mentions the new Mercenary album. Are you familiar with them?
Mm-mm.
We will definitely check them out. Liz says, hated all the songs about magic and rainbows. For sure. Oh, man. All right. Let us move. Oh, melodic metal. Lorcan says it's melodic metal. So definitely up our alley. Not out of my wheelhouse, and neither Hoofbeast. We will definitely check that shit out, brother. Most def. So we are moving on to the next one, and I'm going to let you kick this one off because you're like the biggest cattle decapitation fan of all time. I am too, but shit, you know them inside and out. So I'm going to let you roll with that.
So you've had to have heard of Terrasite. This
by now, yes.
Is nuts. It's really, really good as well. And it was hard. There's two other bands that have put out some great albums that are like my honorable mentions for this little period of kind of updating people for like what's been going on so far this year as we head to the last 3 months of the home stretch. But Terrasite is absolutely outstanding. What a stunning album. Scourge of the Offspring is the third song on the album. That is the song, like I've already written Josh Elmore, the guitarist of Cattle Decapitation, And he said, as they come through on their second tour in the States, which starts in just a few weeks, they will be playing Scourge because it was such a hit for them. And people would be pissed in these states or cities that they didn't play the first time. And so what Cattle Decapitation told me, what Josh told me, is they try to play half of the new album for their first big tour, and then they play half of the big and half of the rest of the album for the second tour.
Kyler says, man, love Cattle and mad thank you to Hoofbeast for what he did for me. Absolutely.
Yeah,
if
Josh,
we can do it, man, we will do it.
Josh is such a cool guy. Like I said, hey man, can I get one of your picks for one of my friends? And he was like, oh yeah, no problem. Let me go get it. And he bus and grabbed one.
That's awesome.
But anyways, this album. So we've had so many good albums from them, and
yes,
Death Atlas came out in November, end of November, right before COVID. The poor guys went to New Zealand, and then COVID, they just barely got out of New Zealand without being stuck there for quarantine when everything shut down. They were doing shows like everybody was starting to freak out, and they got back. And to hear how they made this album, because this album was written while most people were locked down. And so he was in, I think, Slovenia at this time because his girlfriend's Slovenian. They now have moved to Berlin, Germany, Josh Elmore and his girlfriend.
So jealous.
Travis is in San Diego, and Dave McGraw, the drummer, was in Seattle. He's recently moved to Chicago now. And by the way, he's lost a lot of weight. And Josh and I were talking about that.
Oh, my goodness.
He would party really hard on tour and drink quite a bit. And he apparently cut that down because Josh said, I haven't seen him take one drink the whole time. And they were just posting pictures because I think they just finished up New Zealand and Australia. And he's lost weight again. He looks like he did about 10 years ago. And then they have Ollie is in Montreal, Canada. And then, oh God, what's his name? The other guitarist, he's Italian, not Oli. It's a longer name, but anyways, I'll think of it later. Anyways, he's Italy. And I think he does do some of his time maybe in San Diego as well. But the way they wrote this, and he said, we're all writing songs and, putting 2 or 3 riffs together, and then we have to send it to everybody. Then we've got to wait to hear what everybody says. And he was just like, man, it was maddening. Well, Josh said he'll come back on our show. Again, we'll have to have him come on and describe this a little bit more.
Absolutely. We'll talk about the entire album from like start to finish.
Yeah. So
that'd be badass.
And so the funny thing is when I met with Josh and and I went out and had dinner in Charlotte in May, he said, right after the album came out, the rep from Metal Blade who works with Cattle Decapitation, they call him Bella. Yeah.
It's appropriate. Come on.
So he told me as soon as they released the album, well, I'm glad the cat made an appearance once again. Every show.
For the 5th time.
Yeah.
Devil cats.
Oh. Anyways, so no sooner than the album dropped, they'd released like their 3rd single off of it because they built up for 2 months. The Metal Blade rep is on them saying, all right, you guys need to work on the new album right now. Work on it right away. The metal world has changed. The way we release music has changed. You guys need to start working on this right away. And basically the inference I got was like, fuck that. We're not doing that. We're going on tour. So I'll be curious. Like, I want to ask him about that type of stuff. Like, have you guys been writing on the bus and kind of, you write a riff and then, share it. And so.
Absolutely. And it's really a testament to bands that don't live in the same state. You can still, in this day and age, especially, keep a band together no matter where the fuck you guys are, because we have the technology now. You can send, riffs. It's not the traditional way to do it, all four people just getting together and jamming the shit out. Sometimes you just can't. But, at the same token, a band is a sum of its parts. So if they're that fucking good and you have that bond, that brotherhood, you make it work, and they sure as fuck do. The only thing I have to say about this record that I don't particularly like, I don't like the drum sound. The snare is present. Now, when you have blast like they do, it's fucking phenomenal. I love every bit of it. The problem I have is the tick sound. I think that's because I got completely spoiled with Vinnie Paul's drum sound. No matter how many kicks he did, no matter, what type of snare he was using, you always got the crack and a clearly defined bass drum. So with this particular record, and I love the record, don't get me wrong, the ticks are so high that it almost muds the snare. So when you hear the snare, it's not a nice clean crack like a punch to the fucking face. It's more like a light thud. So when his 32nd note, or I should say, double stroke bass drum kicks in, it's hard to hear it. It's just, for me, it is. I don't know. Call me crazy. I know. I could be. You know what I mean? But that was the only thing I didn't like. His cymbals sound fantastic.
Yeah. I wrote to Josh about Death Atlas right around COVID time. We were chatting, and I told him, I said, I don't like how Dave's drums are so prominent in the mix. I said they're too much in the mix for Death Atlas. And I felt like this was a big improvement. Like, I was happy with them just because it felt like it was balanced a little bit more. I felt like Dave's drums.
Oh, there's definitely balance. I agree.
They were too much in the front for Death Atlas. But every song on this album.
Sometimes you got to punch it home, I guess.
Every one on this album every song is really good. I might say I like Terrasitic Adaptation. That's the first track. I like that one quite a bit. We Eat Our Young is really good. Like, one of the
That's
things
my favorite.
I usually don't care for Travis's new goblin voice that he's been doing for a few years. I usually don't like that kind of singing distortion so much. I think he over relies on it. But on Scourge, I like it the way he did it there. Like, to me, that chorus that he has just hits you in the heart. Like, it really pulls on you. I really like that. And Just Another Body is the last song on the album, and it's a much longer song, and I really like this one. It's more like kind of like a long symphonic piece in the way that it changes.
A little different for them, yeah.
Yeah, and I really like that. But guys, this album is also in the running with many albums. Many people, critics, are talking about this is in the running for Album of the Year as well.
Absolutely. And I love you guys out there, my demons in the comment section. Dante Lira. Off topic, Mark Portnoy versus Mike Mangini. I know what my instant answer is, and that's Mike Mangini.
Me too. I agree too.
He is more dynamic as a drummer.
I think so too.
He can still do the womp ass, but do it in such a more classically trained kind of way. And I dig that. Man, I'm trying to think of the guy's name right now. He's probably one of my most favorite guys of all time, Terry Bozzio. That drummer, he started out in one of the most classic rock bands you could imagine with Zappa. And for all you Korn fans out there, he was brought in to do one of Korn's recent records. You know, the one with the impossible fucking drum solo that happens in the middle of the song? So that's what I call that type of caliber drumming. That Mangini shares with a lot of players like Terry Bozzio, and some of the more. I know the word prog keeps coming up a lot, but I just call it. Damn it, they know their fucking rudiments.
Yeah.
They know rhythm inside and out, how to dance around it, come in, come out, turn it upside down, flip it around, but yet you're still in fucking 4/4.
When Terry Bozzio was playing for Missing Persons, I freaking love it. Like, I remember watching this in like 1982, 83, watching him play and just being like, holy shit, he's good. And he's a showman behind the kit as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He knows how to turn it on, proverbially. Okay, so I see your comment, and I got to come back to it. He says, boo, but Mangini's mix sounds way more synthetic. Yes. Do I necessarily think that was his choice? Fuck no. I think that was Dream Theater's choice because that's what they wanted. Now, the Mike Mangini that I know, I've heard do clinics, solos. You know what I'm saying? When you hear the natural drum, so much better. But I think the engineer, the band themselves were like, this is what we want. And that's what they went with. So I don't know. I don't think that was his choice, but technically proficient, excellent groove artist, Mike Mangini all the way.
Yeah,
Portnoy, not a very synthetic sound. Powerful, doesn't excite me.
But to me, more straightforward and not as creative to me as Mike Mangini can be.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's like good and bad. It's like anytime a new drummer steps in, just like fucking Korn, for instance, you had David Severia, and then the guy that's been with them now for like 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
Night and day difference. Not only does the kit sound different, but the mix sounds different also. So it's like you just kind of gotta, I don't know. It's interesting. Every listener is different. So I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just not gonna. But skill-wise, we're going to tell you about it. All right. We are moving on. Let's okay. Yeah. I wanted to kind of like a nice flow. So let's do Acid King. So Acid King is every 60s, 70s lover kind of band. Let me see if I got the right cover.
Yep, that's it.
Sure do. So all the way down, what your first thought is, like if you were like classic buyers of music, especially with metal, you see an album cover, it gives you a feeling. You have that kind of, sort of, all-seeing eye. You got some spheres, you got some towers, almost very crystal-like. They're taking you back to like 1968. And what you get with them is exactly that. A shit ton of fuzz.
Powerful fuzz too.
Oh man. I actually have to wonder, did they do some multi-tracking? They have fuzz on every single level, from the lows to the highs. It almost seems like, I don't know, like they had to like practically multi-track that. But it could be picked up by the bassist. because there's a lot of fuzz even on the bass.
Oh yeah. To me,
Holy crap balls.
the bass who's really leading that, because I watched him live for some couple of videos, and it's the bassist who is the most prominent in the show. Like when I just saw Yob and I just saw Paul Bear. Both of those bands have the same type of bass tone and the same tone throughout, and the bass is so prominent. And live, man, you can feel it.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, thank you, Liz. Ray Luzier, thank you. It was on the tip of my tongue, and I just couldn't spit it out. That's the current drummer of Korn. But yeah, man, when we think of the overall dirtiest fucking bass you could possibly get, nobody can match Lemmy. I mean, signature fucking tone. But, you know, the bassist for this band is very reminiscent of that kind of a sound to me a little bit, but sludgier. And I wonder if that is because the way they're tuned.
Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely low tuned. It's to me, it's like Sleep with better production, because it's
big time.
And it's almost instrumental. If you guys haven't listened to Acid King, this album is like 4/5 no vocals at all. Maybe a fifth or a sixth of each song has some vocals, and they're very monotone, almost spoken, kind of drone singing. And it sounds a little bit more like Kylesa, if you've listened to other kind of stoner kind of rock bands. But it's a really good album. My only thing is I really do need to be under the influence to super like get into it, just because it's so repetitive and slow, and it doesn't have it doesn't have like 6 parts to it. It has like 2 parts, but the 2 parts are simple, really catchy though. But the songs are longer because they're so slow, but really well.
I almost want to say like, and I'm trying to think of the band name, and they're on tour with another really great doom band right now. They're the ones that kind of say that Sabbath stole the idea for their type of music. God damn it. Oh, that's going to kill me. I'm going to have to look it up. So if anybody out there in Black Flame Land, if you guys know the name of the band I'm talking about, they're super fucking occult based from like 1968. They came out literally like 1 or 2 years before Sabbath's first record.
Deep Purple?
What is it?
Deep Purple?
No. It's a female-led doom. They consider themselves to be the originators of doom. But this band kind of reminds me a lot of them. I wonder if it's Lucifer. Is it Lucifer? I don't know. Anyway. So, you know, the vocals, like you said, they are very monotone. So very trancey. And I think they do that on fucking purpose to create the feeling that you're getting from them. I really dig it. I mean, it's got, you know, a more modern drum sound, so they didn't really go for like a classic mix as far as their drums. They're very clear, very punchy. So multiple layers of heaviness. That's what we're always talking about. And they're heavy in a different way. They're just very heavy fuzz, very sludgy, but you're definitely getting like the Manson family kind of vibe with the vocals, which I can appreciate, because I think that's cool. And I still love a lot of what they used to call acid rock of the late 60s, early 70s. So I don't know. I dig it. It's definitely a mood kind of band, though.
Yeah.
I don't think I could rock it every single day, but I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
So we've come to the last one, guys. Fuck yeah. You did it. hopefully you've been learning a lot of shit along the way. So what we got is a band that I have like the hardest time saying their fucking name right. Thantafaxith. Did I get it?
Yep, that's right.
Holy shitballs. This is another one that Hoofbeast has turned me on to, and I really like it a lot. So take us into the world of Thantafaxith. Oh my gods, I can't say it.
It is hard. I've been staring at it for about nine months straight. So this album, once again, it has made my top 30. It's that good. It's that good. And I don't put two albums in my top 30 from the same band. And that's why you don't see Cattle Decapitation in vinyl, because I chose The Harvest Floor by Cattle Decapitation as my favorite from 2009, January of 2009. But okay, this is another band. This is avant-garde black metal. So a bit weird, like Deathspell Omega, but Deathspell Omega is a lot more kind of straightforward black metal compared to Thantafaxith. These guys are from Toronto, Canada. One thing I don't like is I'm so tired of seeing bands wear vests with hoods.
I do have to say that is a little overdone.
Yeah, Midnight is doing it. Various renditions of Ghost, like they love to have these kind of hoods on and stuff and play with it. Like I'm just getting kind of sick. Thantafaxith does that. To me, that's not very artistic. It's not very original. Now that Midnight, and I don't like when Midnight does it either. Like I've seen Midnight a couple times. Not interested in seeing those costumes. But so this album is so the time signatures really don't change that much with the percussion. It's what they're doing with the guitars. They're hitting minor notes a lot of the times instead of regular melodic notes that we would expect. But it fucking works, and it makes it more dark. It makes you feel like you're fumbling in pitch black darkness and you're looking to get away from something that's pursuing you. Like you feel a little crazy, like you're looking around the whole time. This album to me makes me feel that way, and so do 3 of their previous albums as well. But to me, this is the most artistic and most well-made albums. The songs are not all the same. They're quite different. They're not all like blast beats. As a matter of fact, they don't have very many blast beats. But it's
not real heavy, not heavy laden.
You're getting black metal vocals, but really avant-garde, unusual guitars.
And I get that a lot when I heard the song Solar Witch. It kind of felt like it went out of time, but it didn't. They're just kind of like pitting, 3 against 4, that kind of thing. Yeah. And you're just kind of like, oh shit, this is like so, music theory laden. Really not. It's just very simple rhythmic ideas. But if you flip them around a little bit, you can create that effect. And they do it really well. And it's pretty subtle. It's not 50,000 notes crammed into, one bar kind of black metal kind of thing. So I really do kind of dig this style. Don't get me wrong, still love my traditional black metal. So does Hoofbeast. But, sometimes something new comes around and it's like a whole new way of looking at that particular genre. And somebody just kind of changes the game a little bit.
I think these guys, this album in particular, will influence metal, especially black metal, for years. Just like, to me, this is like for black metal. Well, maybe Deathspell Omega is. Like when Paracletus came out for Deathspell Omega, I think it was 2009 or 2010. That album was flipping weird. This is more weird because it doesn't the blast beats in there. Really, really, really unusual, very artistic. Like I can't. There's no band that sounds like Fantafaxif do on this record. I want them to come down to the States. I want to go see them so badly.
Well, and luckily we're in a time where that's possible, as long as they don't get stopped at customs for being on some sort of a watch list. Damn
Yeah.
it, Marduk.
Happened to Watain just over
Right.
a half ago. I was so pissed because they were going to open up for Mayhem. I was excited to see Mayhem, but I really wanted to see Watain. And then Midnight had to take that spot, and they got a longer set. They played for like an hour, and I like Midnight fine, but I'm not terribly excited about that.
We're kind of always talking about the different theatrics. I honestly, Merciful Fate, King Diamond, I think they absolutely spoiled us. Some could say the same about Iron Maiden because they were just so original, so different. But when you see band after band kind of doing the same thing, if you're not changing things a little bit, it gets boring.
Right.
And there was a band that I just interviewed last week called Two in the Chest, and they're all like Wild Wild West ghost costumes. Never seen that shit before, and they fucking rock. It was the most original thing I've seen in a long time because no one's ever fucking done it. Black metal, it's like, how extreme can you get? I don't know. Some of them, they don't even really do the paint thing as thick as some of the, the original bands. Kind of like the band that Watain, for instance. They're a little bit different. They look a little bit more of today. You know what I mean? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, Merciful Fate comes out, which, goddamn, their stage show now is even more fucking intense, more original than I've seen a lot of black metal bands do. And they're not even black metal. I mean, Merciful Fate is like upped their game as far as that's concerned. But then again, I guess it just kind of, some people rely on Fire, the big sigil work on there, with the burning tridents and stuff, which, don't get me wrong, fucking love it. The more blasphemous, the better. But man, Merciful Fate's new set. Have you caught any of their recent shows?
Yeah, I have.
Holy crap! Online, you can definitely see it on YouTube.
Oh yeah, amazing! That's probably the show, maybe of all time, that I missed last year that I kicked myself in the ass for. For all of my years of missing metal shows, I wish I'd gotten to see that.
They came out of fucking nowhere and said, "Oh, by the way, in 1 month, we're going to be doing a North American tour." No one was really ready for that, I think. Yeah. Unless you're like staying glued to, the mercifulfate.com and, King's website as well. So it's like, if you don't get the daily news, you're just not going to know. And that's how I found out. I found out through email. And I was like, fuck, but they're not coming anywhere near me. Just like the 30th anniversary of the Danzig show. So, yeah. Guys, I hope that what you took away from tonight is these 5 bands are so much fun on so many different levels. And they're a very big reason why they're standouts. So many different things.
Hell Ripper has a new one that came out in January. It's more kind of thrashy black and roll, really technical thrash black and roll, really, really good. That's album awesome. Is out. Well, it's really, really good. And Enslaved's new one is really good. People call them kind of prog black metal. They're kind of their own thing. Nobody sounds like Enslaved. So it is a bit proggy, and I saw them on this tour. Enslaved is also, their new album is really, really good. Very memorable, atmospheric, classy, really well done.
Yeah, I mean, almost like a sense of dominance when it comes to what they do. So we urge you to check these bands out if you haven't already. And most of our viewers tend to know a lot of the bands that we talk about because they're not the huge, constant advertised bands. In some cases, they don't get a lot of press. Mm-hmm. Unless you read, some of the, publications and stuff that most of these bands would, tend to come up into. So definitely check it out. We appreciate y'all, picking us for your getting over Monday malaise, as I like to call it. Manic Monday. Mm-hmm. Very much so. And definitely keep in mind that this Friday, the long-awaited interview with the Carnival Metal Band. And when I say Carnival Metal Band, this is a whole new genre of metal. It really fucking is. The band is Raven Black. We were supposed to interview them about a month ago or so, and we've been trying to get a date because their touring schedule is so crazy. Well, it is this Friday night, 8 p.m. CST. It is going to be crazy. So if you are a fan of Raven Black, definitely tune in this Friday. Get those questions answered. We're going to be talking about their new album as well as all the big shows they're doing. And on October the 14th, I am going to be at the Tennessee Metal Devastation Festival in Tennessee, covering bands like Casket Robbery, Raven Black, and a lot of the other bands that are there. Just found this out about a week ago or so. So it's definitely happening. Reaper's definitely going to be there. So come say hi. But as always, as you're getting ready to come into Tuesday, heading towards the hump of the week, just, man, don't take no shit from nobody. Listen to as much new bands as possible. Keep an open mind. Kick fucking ass. And always stay heavy.
All residents, go in and stay in your houses. Drive the rats in